A massive global transformation in manufacturing isn't just on the horizon, it's already here. And 2026, well, that's shaping up to be a really critical milestone in this whole revolution. It's a year where geopolitics, technology, and people are all converging, and it's forcing us to ask some pretty fundamental questions. First up, where is our stuff actually going to be made? The map as we know it is being totally redrawn. Decades of supply chain logic are being turned on their head, and the very geography of production is shifting right under our feet.
And then there's the how. The factory itself is going through this radical reinvention. And we're not just talking about a few new machines here. This is a complete technological overhaul from the inside out.
And finally, maybe the most important question of all, what's the role for people in this new era? Who's going to do the work, and what kind of skills are they going to need? So first, let's dive into this great manufacturing reshuffle. We're talking about massive geopolitical and economic forces that are literally redrawing the map of where things get made. It's a direct challenge to that old idea that the cheapest labor always wins. Right at the heart of this whole shift is the upcoming 2026 review of the USMCA. That's the trade agreement that replaced the old NAFTA deal. Now, the goal was to rebalance trade, but look at this number. The trade deficit has actually widened dramatically. This kind of imbalance is forcing a major rethink. And a huge factor here, a gaping loophole in the USMCA. Chinese firms have massively ramped up their investment in Mexico, basically using it as a backdoor to get preferential access to North American markets, all while dodging tariffs.
And of course, underpinning all of this is the wage gap that just won't go away. With manufacturing wages in Mexico being just a tiny fraction of what they are in the US, the economic pull for companies to move production south is still incredibly strong. For decades, this was pretty much the only number that mattered.
But here's the twist. In response to all this volatility, companies are adopting new strategies that look way beyond just wages. The big one you hear about is nearshoring, moving operations closer to home to build shorter, more resilient supply chains that are way less vulnerable to global shocks. It's really a pivot from pure cost to a new equation that factors in risk and speed. But the competition isn't just regional anymore. We're seeing new manufacturing powerhouses emerge to challenge the status quo. Take India's production-linked incentive scheme, the PLI scheme. By offering these really powerful financial incentives, it's attracted massive investment and created over 1 million jobs. It's positioning India as a serious China Plus One alternative for global companies. Okay, so this whole geographic reshuffle is happening at the exact same time as a radical technological revolution inside the factory walls. So let's take a look at the factory of the future. But this factory of the future, well, it has a major problem. Old technology. The vast majority of companies are wrestling with these legacy systems that create data silos, cause security risks, and just slow down the adoption of game-changing tools like AI. Now, one of the key technologies breaking down these silos is something called the digital twin. It's basically a complete virtual replica of a factory. It lets companies run simulations, test out changes, and optimize processes in the digital world before they ever have to touch a physical machine. This can slash downtime and make moving production a whole lot faster. This quote from an industry leader like Siemens really nails it. The magic, the real breakthrough, happens when you fuse the physical and the virtual worlds together. That fusion, that's the engine of this new industrial revolution. So how do you actually build this smart factory? Well, it's not magic. It's a pretty clear 3-step process. First, you have what's called system truthing. You got to create one single, accurate map of all your current systems. Then, data unification. You connect all that data so it speaks the same language, making everything AI ready. And finally, and this is the goal, AI operationalization. You embed that AI directly into your workflows to get real, tangible, measurable improvements. Which brings us to our final and, let's be honest, probably our most important question. With all this geographic and technological change happening, what does it all mean for the people who actually do the work? The scale of this challenge is it's staggering. The World Economic Forum estimates that 1 billion people, that's billion with a B, will need to learn new skills by 2030 just to keep up with AI and automation. Now, what's really fascinating here is the dangerous gap this reveals. Look at this. While nearly 90% of executives are using AI, only about a quarter of frontline workers are. This creates a kind of two-speed workforce, where the people closest to the actual work are getting the least access to the tools that are shaping its future. So this presents a really critical choice. Companies can take the path of blunt force automation, just cutting jobs to pay for new tech. Or they can pursue strategic job redesign, breaking down roles into individual tasks and creating a true partnership where AI augments human capabilities, making everybody more effective. Okay, so let's bring all this together. We've seen the map change, we've seen the factory evolve, and we've seen the workforce trying to adapt. So what does this all mean as we head towards 2026? 2026 really is a true inflection point where these three powerful trends just collide. The geopolitical map is being redrawn at the exact moment the technological standard for factories is being set, and all of it, every bit of it, depends on a massive human reskilling effort. The winners are going to be those who can navigate all three of these things at once. And this really is the ultimate takeaway. The revolution isn't a question of if, it's a question of how fast. The technology is here, the strategies are forming. The real unknown is our readiness. The readiness of workers, of companies, and of entire economies to actually embrace this new reality. The factory of the future is arriving. The only question is, are we ready?